right. Welcome, everybody, to a beautiful day in the Everglades. I'm Drew Bartlett, Executive Director for the South Florida Water Management District. And to start things off, I'd like everyone to stand as you're able for the national anthem. Thank you. All right. We like ceremony here at the South Florida Water Management District, and to kick off this incredible event, Chauncey, will you present the scroll? Wish me luck. November 13th. Wait. November 13th, 2024. Celebrating the completion of the construction phase of the Everglades Restoration Strategies Project. Today's ribbon cutting for the C-139 Flow Equalization Basin Project marks another major milestone for the restoration of America's Everglades. The Restoration Strategies Project was inked in 2012 after the state of Florida and the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency reached consensus on new strategies for restoring water quality to America's Everglades. We are truly in the golden age of Everglades restoration. The South Florida Water Management District is grateful to all of our partners, stakeholders, and the public for the important role you continue to play to protect our water resources and ecosystems. Thank you for joining us. Now, I bet all of you wish you had a scroll, and you can actually have a scroll because we got mini scrolls for everyone in the basket on the table, so you can enjoy this ceremony, which is the completion of restoration strategies, clean water for the Everglades into the future. A very exciting time in South Florida and for our ecosystems. I'd like to start this off with Chauncey Goss. He's the Governing Board Chairman for the South Florida Water Management District to kick off our speaker list. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Drew, and more importantly, thank you all for being here. Thank you for making the trip out here. I know it's a long way, and we really appreciate it. This is another great day for the America's Everglades. We started the year with a ribbon cutting. We had the EAA stormwater treatment area. We're finishing the year with the completion of restoration strategies. It has been a great year for us. Just yesterday, we had a groundbreaking. It was a groundbreaking for the Clewiston Field Station, and the staff gave us some shovels to play with, and that's always fun. Today, we get to play with scissors, and I like the scissors much better because as we get to use the scissors, that's the actual ribbon cutting. It shows real progress for us. So I've been a governing board member for over 5 years now, and I've just been amazed at how much this staff is able to accomplish when it's given a clear mission. And we have received a very clear mission from our governor. It's a very unambiguous mission. We've also received incredible support from both our governor and our legislature. And so I'm blown away with how much we're able to do because of that. And I want to thank my colleagues on the governing board. Some of them are here and some of them aren't. We have Vice Chair Scott Wagner. He's from Miami-Dade. Alligator Ron Bergeron from Broward is here. You can't miss him. Put your hand up, Ron. Say thank you. say thank you to Ron. Ben Butler from Okeechobee. Ben's here. Charlie Martinez, Miami-Dade. Cheryl Meads from Martin County. Charlotte Roman, also chair of the Big Cypress Basin Board from Collier County, is here. Jay Steinley, who's also chair of our Finance Committee from Palm Beach. I'd also like to thank the person responsible to us for making the success, ensuring our success, and that's our Executive Director, Drew Bartlett. Drew, you and your executive team are amazing. Your staff is amazing, and I am constantly in awe of what you're able to get done. I remember not that long ago, I guess it was 3.5 years ago, it seems like yesterday with the hurricanes, or maybe it seems like 100 years ago with the hurricanes, I'm not sure. But 3.5 years ago, coming to this very location and having this groundbreaking for the C-139 flow equalization basin. I don't think I really understood exactly what a flow equalization basin was or its importance. But over the last 3.5 years, after being educated time and time again by Lawrence Glenn and John Mitnick during their presentations monthly on how our STAs are performing, how well they're doing, some are doing better than others. STA 5 and 6 weren't doing as well, and one of the reasons they weren't doing as well is because we need this flow equalization basin. They're really flashy areas. This flow equalization basin is going to help with that. I've just used two words, flashy and flow equalization basin. I never ever thought I'd be using in the same sentence as a non-engineer, but we're all learning. So this is really, really important to us, and we're excited about it. And as you know, we don't do this in a vacuum. We do this with our partners, and I want to thank the many people here today who are sitting out here and who are our partners. Particularly, I want to thank the tribes. I would like to thank our tribal partners, Ed Ornstein from the Miccosukee Tribe of Indians of Florida. Ed, thank you very much for being here. Tina Osceola from the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Tina, thank you so much for being here. Drew mentioned restoration strategies. I think it was a joint effort with the Environmental Protection Agent, Janine Gettle. Are you here? And if you are, Jean, thanks very much. My Senator, Jonathan Martin, thank you for being here, sir. Another incredible partner we have is the Florida Department of Environmental Protection, and our Deputy Secretary Adam Blaylock is joining us today. Thank you for being here, Adam. And at the local level, I don't know if Molly Gardner's here from the city of Clewiston. I don't think she is, but I'd like to thank her, as well as our commissioners from Hendry County. We have Carson Turner and Raymond Iglesias. Thank you both for being here. Tommy Griffin from Congressman Scott Franklin's office. Tommy, thank you for being here. Serena Barreau from Representative Jenna Persons-Mullica's office, if you're here. Did Ava make it? I know she, look at that, just in time. Ava Velez from the Corps of Engineers, thank you for being here, Ava. And I know I saw someone from Senator Rubio's office as well, but thank you for being here. We also have many other partners from the Everglades stakeholders and Gladesmen who are here today. This project was made possible because of a partnership with the Department of Environmental Protection with funding provided by the Florida Legislature, and I want to specifically thank them for their efforts for this project and for all of our projects. I also want to thank the EPA. I know that the state of Florida and EPA reached a consensus on restoration strategies to improve water quality in America's Everglades. Restoration strategies has been going on since 2012, as Drew referenced, so it's been over a decade, and I know we have a lot of staff to thank who have worked on that project over the years. Since 2019, we've celebrated over 70 groundbreakings, ribbon cuttings, and major milestones. The scissors are getting a workout. We don't plan on resting. We've also had 2 back-to-back hurricanes this year. We have lots of staff who worked before, during, and after both of those storms to alleviate flooding. That really is our first mission is flood control, and our staff is amazing because they can chew and walk at the same time. Chew gum and walk at the same time. Under Governor DeSantis, we've had the highest level of funding for Everglades restoration in our state's history, which is amazing, and I can't thank him enough for his support of what we're doing. I want to thank everyone for being here today, and I really look forward to playing with the scissors and cutting that ribbon again. Drew, back to you.
Thank you, Chauncey. I like the chew gum and walk at the same time. Actually, they chew gum and run, and they run with scissors. So basically, a lot of stakeholder interest was involved in crafting and launching restoration strategies. And one of the central stakeholders is the Miccosukee Tribe of Florida, who engaged with resources and effort to make sure that clean water for the Everglades was part of the future. And so I'm very happy to have Edward Ornstein here from the Miccosukee Tribe of Indians to speak on behalf of the tribe.
How are y'all doing today? It's a great day here in the Everglades. My name is Edward Ornstein. I serve as Deputy General Counsel for the Miccosukee Tribe of Indians of Florida. I am myself an enrolled member of the Southeastern Muskogee Nation up in Alabama. And I'm here on behalf of Chairman's office really to convey the appreciation of the tribe. I'm joined here by Amber Sanders. Amber, you want to introduce yourself?
Chia Damo, Chiofchevke Amber Sanders. I'm a Hofchevke Yet Ojanadet. Hello, everybody. I'm Amber Sanders. I'm an enrolled member of Miccosukee Tribe, and I'm also part of the Miccosukee Tribe Embassy Fellowship. And I'm also from Chairman's office and his niece, so really glad to be here today.
When the tribe was first campaigning for clean water in the Everglades in the 80s and the 90s, coming up to the 2000s, the tribe ended up having to put in place a ban on how many fish you could eat a month, or a guidance rather, simply because the waters that were flowing down to tribal lands were not safe. There were elevated levels of a lot of different nutrients, of some heavy metals from legacy incineration, various interesting mercury methylation processes that happen with the phytoplankton that, as an attorney, I don't entirely understand. But Amber, when she was growing up, that was her experience, that there was already this wall between the traditional culture, the ability to have a subsistence lifestyle in the Everglades, and the tradition, which is exactly that. And so today we really do want to applaud the South Florida Water Management District for following through on its promises, following the consent decree in the early 2010s. This is an amazing moment. It's a moment that will permit the tribe to really begin again many of its traditional practices down on tribal lands in the central and western Everglades. And so I think this is not only an exciting moment for the Water Management District, for the Army Corps, for all the stakeholders that have been involved in the development of restoration strategies, but this is also an exciting moment for Native culture in Florida. And this is what happens when you take the lead from the tribal folks who know how to steward this ecosystem and have done so for thousands of years. So really want to extend my thanks to Drew, to the governing board, to all of the people who have shown up here today and have played a part in the development of this project and the many others that make up restoration strategies. And yeah, Mado, thank y'all.
All right, we are honored to be joined by both tribal nations in South Florida here today who call Everglades their home since they were native Floridians, right? So we do have Tina Osceola from the Seminole Tribe here to speak on behalf of the Seminole Tribe. Thank you, Tina.
Well, good morning, and excuse the Amy Winehouse look, but I'm rocking some Brit this morning. That's definitely not my intent, but you know, whenever we visit non-tribal events, you get there's a little bit of inhibition, you know, and you go into it a little uncomfortable because you could get scalped, right? So what happens? I sit in the chair, and as soon as I stand up, I get scalped. The tape pulled a big chunk of my hair out. So just for the record, it finally happened. So now it's all uphill from here, right? The worst that could possibly happen has already happened. But all joking aside, as a representative of the Seminole Tribe of Florida and the Tribal Council, I really would like to express our most deepest gratitude for the partnership that we are able to create with the South Florida Water Management District, the Army Corps of Engineers, the state of Florida, DEP, and with our neighbors. It's very important that we all see each other as stakeholders. As a member of a tribe, and as a tribal historic preservation officer, you know, it oftentimes feels a little overwhelming. And when you look across the table and you see familiar faces, and you hear familiar voices that you may not always agree with, but you know that there's a mutual respect and the dedication to at least listening. That's the beginning. That's the beginning. And I think we enjoy that with the South Florida Water Management District and the Army Corps and the other partners who are here today. We don't promise to always agree. As you know, we can be a bit difficult. We didn't survive Indian removal and termination to be easy, right? We know we're not easy, but we're very reasonable. And reasonable because we have a vested interest in making sure that there are children 200, 300, thousands of years from now who are able to call themselves Native, who can call themselves Seminole. That's what we have at stake. We won't do that without clean water. We won't do that without a protected environment. So we understand that we're in this for the long haul. You know, I know our sister tribe at Miccosukee, you know, my dad was raised along Tamiami Trail. When he was growing up, there was no going to the store, right? You took a bath in the same waters that you ate out of. That's what we want for my grandchildren. That's what they want for theirs. I don't think that's too much to ask. And I really do think that everyone here today is dedicated to that same goal. I want your children to be able to hunt and fish and to be able to eat safely without worrying about cancer or any other disease. That's not what we want to leave our children and our grandchildren. We want to leave a legacy and not a disaster to clean up. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina. Just so everyone knows, at some point this will be open for recreation, and if you want to fish, there's going to be some big bass in that FEB. To build this, we basically moved 5 million cubic yards of material. 5 million. That's a lot of material to move to create the berms, to create this flowway out here. That's 222,222 dump trucks worth of material. Now, if you stack those dump trucks end to end, they will go from here to Cleveland. That's a lot of material, but they got it done. They got it done in 3 years. Incredible work. Our next speaker is the other partner in this whole endeavor from the Environmental Protection Agency. She brought her staff that have been working on this for decades. And so Janine, longtime friend, glad you're here to celebrate this occasion with us.
Good morning. I'm Janine Gettle. I'm the Acting Regional Administrator for EPA Region 4, which serves the 8 southeastern states, including the beautiful state of Florida and the 6 tribes. It's a pleasure to be here today, and I'm just going to veer from my notes real quickly. Makes my staff cringe when I do that. But I do want to just remark that I want to know how Drew got 200,222 dump trucks. Lots of twos there. I think maybe we should look at that. So I'm just saying. You know, it's really a pleasure to be here today, and I appreciate the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here today because the Everglades are iconic. They're iconic America. And this represents our efforts to come together to ensure that iconic America and the Everglades lives on into the future as pristinely as it did hundreds of years ago. And that's what we are all about here, and that's why it's important that we take this moment to recognize this significant milestone as we celebrate the completion of the construction phase of the Everglades Restoration Strategies project. Let's take a moment to reflect on the journey that got us here. It started decades ago in the 1970s when there were no initiatives to remove nutrients from waters flowing into the Everglades. There were no initiatives to remove nutrients from waters flowing anywhere. But we began to understand the impact of phosphorus and what that would do to a water body. And here, tens of thousands of acres were affected. And it was a sensitive ecosystem. And in the 1990s, we shifted our focus to try to clean the waters before they got to the Everglades. And this led to the creation of the stormwater treatment areas and implementation of agricultural best management practices. And I can't stress those best management practices too much. They've made a huge difference. Agriculture has been a key part of improving the story of the Everglades. These early steps laid the groundwork for the progress we're celebrating here today. A pivotal moment came in the 1990s when the Miccosukee tribe proposed the first numeric water quality standard for the Everglades. And then Florida followed suit and approved their first water quality standard as well. That Miccosukee water quality standards was historic for wetlands and historic for tribes. And since then, we've worked with the Seminole to look at water quality standards, and we continue to work today. But by 2010, what we saw was that agriculture's best management practices had successfully removed 50% of the phosphorus from runoff destined for the Everglades. And the phosphorus is important because it creates the nutrients, as you all know. However, we recognized that a more comprehensive action was needed, and this led to a collaborative effort between EPA and Florida to develop a robust plan, a plan that we called Restoration Strategies. It was a commitment of $880 million and was set to be completed in 13 years. And we have people here today, as I walked around and talked, who were in on the ground floor of that plan. They negotiated it, or they've worked on it every day since then. And their commitment is what makes all of this possible. So I'm proud to say that 13 years later, agriculture continues to make great strides. They're a great partner. And next year, all of the corrective actions for restoration strategies will be complete. And data from Florida shows that this is working. And EPA has confirmed that data. It's working. This is cleaning up the Everglades. So as we mark the completion of the construction phase, we celebrate how far we've come over the past 50 years. It's important to celebrate this milestone because we know there's more work to do. And we have committed people to do that work, to move this project further into the future. I meet biannually with FDEP and talk about restoration strategies in South Florida Water Management District and talk about how the STAs are working and other things. And I am committed to continuing that into the future as we look for other opportunities to improve and continue to improve the Everglades. Looking ahead, EPA is at the table, prepared to work with you as we move forward, to continue our progress, so that as we look back, we know that we did everything possible to ensure that the iconic Everglades continues into the future, and that your children and your children's children and your children's children's children can eat the fish, drink the water, and swim. Thank you all very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Janine. Great words. So, Restoration Strategies had lots of different projects, lots of funding to treat all the water going into the Everglades. It all built out. This is a storage facility. There's 2 other storage facilities that were put there. 116,000 acre-feet of water. Not everyone speaks acre-feet. That's 58,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. 58,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. There's only been 54 Olympic Games, right? Yeah, so not 54,000. 58,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. So it's a lot of work, but it's a lot of water that we have to clean, and that's exactly what we're doing. And we really couldn't do it without the support of our legislature, who has been steadfast in funding all these projects in cooperation with the Water Management District and DEP. And so we're very pleased to be joined by Senator Jonathan Martin from the Florida legislature today.
Good morning. This is a great day. I remember last year up in closer to LaBelle, it was a much colder day, but this day is a beautiful day. I couldn't help but sitting right here looking at these flags and then seeing the water behind it and thinking back to my high school English classes where you learn about symbolism and representation. It's just I think this is just who we are. This day just represents everything that's good about being a Floridian and an American. We have the American flag. We have our tribal flags, our partners from the Miccosukee tribe and the Seminole tribe, and we have the Florida flag and the South Florida Water Management flag. And you know, the American flag also represents the other agencies. You know, the EPA, the Army Corps of Engineers, the U.S. Parks. That's part of you know a lot of the property around this perimeter. We all work together for this project and many more. Chauncey, you've done a phenomenal job. 70 projects where either shovels or scissors have been used. That's phenomenal, and just in the last half decade. We are on a very, very good path to not just returning our environment to closer to what it used to look like, but allowing us, the people, to be able to use it for what God intended it to be used for, which is an everyday, constant reminder of what He created for us. The environment is something that I think not just looks good and something we can play in and see pictures of, but it represents to other countries and other cultures about how we respect each other. Because if we leave our environment worse off, it shows that we don't care about those who are going to come behind us, or we don't even care about our neighbors. So projects like this, to clean the water, remove the nutrients before it spills onto our neighbor's land, is a very good representation of of the best of us as Americans and Floridians. I enjoy hearing the stories every time I come to one of these, either groundbreakings or ribbon cuttings. I hear the stories of how the projects came to fruition and what the motivating factor of, and learning some of the history of the stakeholders and the people behind the scenes, what they did to get the job done. But me, I just want to come here from 64 miles away, representing a district of 540,000 people, and say thank you. Thank you to all the people who are represented by these flags behind us, who put in the legwork to work on a project that a lot of people will never even see. But they will see the effects of this project. They will see and experience and use cleaner water. They will get more opportunities to enjoy a cleaner environment, to fish, to hunt, to go bird watching, watch turtles crawl up on beaches because the water is cleaner on those beaches. The tourism, the money, aside, it's going to be a tremendous benefit to those of us on the coast, and even here inland, when people figure out that this is a great place to come hang out and spend some time enjoying nature. But I want to say thank you to all those who are represented by these flags and have put in the legwork over the last dozen years to get this project underway. District 33 and all of us on the coast appreciate your hard work and look forward to many, many more ribbon cuttings. Thank you.
All right. Did you know that as part of restoration strategies, we had to optimize our 60,000 acres of treatment wetlands and add another 6,500 acres of treatment wetlands. So we added some more wetlands to treat, and if you're trying to get your head around how big 6,000 acres is, you can fit every Florida theme park inside that 6,000 acres. It's a lot of wetlands. I mean, you can't even see the other side, the berm on the other side of this. These are big facilities that do a lot of work for us. And we couldn't have these facilities do work with us without the partnership of the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. So we're very honored to be here with Deputy Secretary Adam Blaylock.
Thank you. It really is a pleasure to be here to be able to represent the Department of Environmental Protection, and also really good to see some of the past leadership of the department here. Even though I get to be up here and speak and at this ribbon cutting, it's the work that they put in to get us to where we are here today. So just want to recognize that and the accomplishments that they did, and all of the prior leadership at the department that were here before me. And so just one real quick, when you talk about Everglades restoration, a lot of what you hear is getting the water right, whether that's water quality, the amount of water, the timing of water, where it's located. And in the department, the water quality, that's one of the primary areas where we come in and try to ensure that water quality standards and the ecology of the Everglades are being met. And determination was made, and rightly so, that despite implementation of BMPs, the existing STAs, there was additional restoration strategies that needed to be implemented to ensure that water quality coming out of the EAA into the Everglades protection area was meeting water quality standards and was protective of that unique ecosystem. And so all of the stakeholders, DEP, EPA, the tribes, we all came together, adopted these strategies, and today we get to see the culmination of that with the ribbon cutting of this FEB. It will provide additional water quality to ensure that the water quality standards out of STA 4.5 are being met. And we know that once that occurs and we start seeing those ecological benefits, we are starting to see those, as Janine said, in the Everglades protection area, into Everglades National Park. So all of the work and funding that we are currently doing is making a difference. And fortunately, we have governor and legislature who continue to invest historic funding into all of these projects that we still know need to get accomplished, and we're on track to do that, and just look forward to what the continuation of these efforts holds as we see additional and continued improvement in the Everglades area. So just thank you for the opportunity to be here, and thank all of the stakeholders and those that have been integral into this restoration strategies and the Greater Everglades Restoration Project. So thank you very much.
All right. I bet all of you are wondering what that box is right there, that big box. You're not wondering. That is the pump station that moves the water into this flow equalization basin. That can pump 690 cubic feet per second. What does that number mean? That means 500 million gallons per day. And what does that mean? If you took every utility in Miami-Dade County, serving all those people, those millions and millions of people in Miami-Dade County, and adding them together, it's not that much water. That is more water than all of those utilities together. It's a massive pump station, and we're very excited to turn it on because you will get to see that at the conclusion of this event. So we do have a commissioner from Hendry County, well known to many people, also chair of the 16 County Coalition until recently. Carson Turner is here to close out the speaker's part of this ceremony. Thank you.
All right. Gonna try not to digress too much here. I'm actually not a commissioner anymore. I'm not even a lame duck. I'm a dead duck. Last night was my final meeting, so I'm out in that role. But yeah, kind of freedom, right? And then another little story. So that tract of land over there, that's called Little Cypress. Was Little Cypress Farms for a long time. Chuck Oburn owns that. C&B Farms now. Of course, the district owns the section of land right there. But when I was 9 years old, killed my first hog right in front of that cypress head with my brothers. We had a lease with 9 other people that were through there. And STA 5 was also part of that lease. And it's amazing to see these playgrounds and know what they are now. And one of the things that I've pleaded with the district on, and we have a lot of governing board members here, and please, I don't want anyone to think that what I'm saying is negative to the process. But this right here used to be, if you knew the right person, you could get to Southern Gardens Citrus Grove. You could get to the Southern Garden Track. And no exaggeration, deer were down here in herds. I'll never forget when Mr. Dink Davis took me for a ride, and we had to slow the truck down to allow the herd of deer to move out of the way. And I was like, what in the hell am I experiencing right now? Because you would hunt these public land areas and you would see maybe a deer the entire time. And then you come down here where it's an active orange grove, and there was herds of turkeys, herds of deer, and the hogs would, as we would say, were dog killers down here. They would get you dogs and it would be game over down here. And so to see this now doing what it is and how it's helping with the process of water cleanliness and saddling up with our partners at the Seminole Tribe and the Miccosukee, and knowing the strife that you all have gone through and the voluminous amount of hours that you've sat at the table negotiating these deals to see this done. And we're actually seeing this through now. My dear friend Cicero Osceola explained to me in great detail how water rolled onto y'all, and it wasn't the best of things so many times, and we're starting to get that right now. Alligator Ron, whether you know it or not, you've been a hell of a mentor to me. I don't know if you see it. I always try to rock a little bit of flair like you do. I never can get to that level. But listening to your stories, sir, listening to your stories and knowing what Green Cypress means to you and understanding how that all rolls together, and then serving the little bit of role that I was able to do during my 16 years of time as a commissioner, and seeing massive worlds come together where the foundation is coming here. Paul Backhouse, your team, and how many times you've opened up the museum for us to have distinguished guests come through that have no clue what this area stands for. And by the time they've left 3-4 hours later, they're a little bit woozy because they're overwhelmed with all the stuff we've thrown at them. But by God, they know a lot more about what we are down here. And so one of the things I say often is I have muck between my toes. I look up, I see Miss Margaret England sitting there, which is one of the few ambassadors ever to be honored by South Florida Water Management District for taking, she'll be real modest about it. She'll say something like it's a few thousand people. It's probably approaching tens of thousands of people now through STA 5 and educating them to what the number of bird species that we have coming down here at any given moment. And I know she's foaming at the mouth to get turned loose out here at this FEB. So just wonderful times. I'm glad Hendry County could get out of the way and allow the big horses to come in here and get this done. I want to stress to the district, y'all had a groundbreaking yesterday. You're going to have your governing board here in Clewiston meeting tomorrow. But y'all, I've showed this to you time and time again, Mr. Mitnick, Lawrence Glenn, how y'all have helped educate us, but not only that, how you understand what kind of an economic engine you are to our area, and we're so thankful to that. And we could not exist without the partners that we have. Thank you all so much for allowing me to be a part of this. Even though it was a very small part, it was still a very enjoyable part. And honored to be here today and celebrate this with you. Drew, if you're still in the driver's seat when we're cutting the ribbon after Phillips and Jordan gets it done over there to C43, I'd like an invite back and aggravate y'all again that day. Other than that, thank you so much for y'all's time. Appreciate you.
All right. So before we get to cutting the ribbon and turning the pumps on, I want to thank staff that are working on this project that saw this C-139 FEB through. We have John Mitnick, Lucine Dadrian, Rich Virgil, Jennifer Reynolds, Jennifer Leeds, Kevin Snell, Rosalind Ellington, Eduardo Tovar, Marissa Hodap, Natasha Warich, Nimi Jayakumar, Jose Otero, Taranda Solomon, Joel Ariata, John Garrett, and our project manager for this is Vijay Mishra. Good job, Vijay. Where are you? You're killing it, Vijay. And then I also want to recognize we have former board members here. We have Dan DeLisi here in the audience, who's a former board member, who was board member when Restoration Strategies was adopted. We have Herschel Vineyard, who is the Secretary of DEP when Restoration Strategies was adopted. And I also want to recognize we have Eve Samples here from Friends of the Everglades, which really spearheaded a lot of advocacy for clean water for the Everglades. So she's here as well, along with Audubon and Captains for Clean Water and the Foundation. So thanks everyone for attending. Let's cut a ribbon. Let's get our board members and the speakers over here to this ribbon and cut it, and then we're going to turn these massive pumps on.